So let me spend about 5 minutes sort of again talking about some of the typical pain points we feel in the data center from a specific to storage. That's what I do for a living. It looks familiar. Is anybody here getting their budgets? Are your budgets still growing by a good 10-15% year on year? So it looks like this is true. You're asked to do more. You got to handle more number of users. You got to handle more consumerization of IT. You got to run the same things 5 times harder, and you get nothing more to run it with. So your budget remains the same. Sorry, you can't get any more money. Looks like the problem is fairly familiar to all of us, and the data centers of all the corporates. It's not just India. Worldwide, we have a problem. In fact, there are a lot of countries where the IT budget is being cut down seriously. So there are organizations which want the IT teams to ensure that they deliver exactly what they did last year, but spend 20% less straight away. So it's a pain. It's a problem. I don't think it's going to go away. The current economic situation, the competitive environment is not going to take the pressure off either you or us. So this pain is going to stay. And this happens to be actually mine and Phil's favorite slide. And there's a very simple reason to it. This is exactly how data is growing. It's like the hose, the fire hose. Old days, we would have some databases, we could tell where they were headed. But today what happens is, people have got their laptops. Laptops were not too bad if you look at the fact you've got cell phones. Somebody actually did a quick elevator pitch video recording of me today using a cell phone. I was like, come on guys, there's better equipment to do that with. But that's the problem. You take photographs, you put it on your laptop, so it goes onto your corporate network. Guess what? You got a 5 meg photograph. Okay? And there is no way you can tell whether you need it or not, can you? It could be something critical. There is just isn't that right kind of technology existing. So the problem with the data is it is going to grow. Whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, it's a challenge. It's a technology challenge that we've got to fix it. Okay. So here is what we want all of us to focus on. The legacy way of doing things was a problem. Legacy way is the way it used to work when the data was legacy. So when we had databases, we could write a script to manage it. But if it's going to be video files, if it's going to be audio recordings, it's going to be Word, Excel, PowerPoints. I've seen PowerPoint files running up to 50 megs nowadays. And you have a PowerPoint file that 50 sales guys use in your organization, and they just change their names. It's 50 copies. So 50 megs, 50 copies. That's 250 megs of data or 2.5 gigs of data that really could have been stored in a lot less capacity. It just multiplies every single day. So that's a problem. And then on top of that, as Phil said, I think there's another bigger, key, more painful problem, which is upgrading your equipment. So I think every alternate year there is a major storage launch. Every about 18 to 20 odd months there is a major server launch. And the vendors claim big jump, big changes, and that's the reason why you should throw away your old stuff and move to the new one, right? So we like to use the word forklift because your problem is you got to copy all the information somehow magically from the old system to the new system. You got to do that, okay? And you got to ensure when you're doing it there is no downtime. So we can all imagine how enjoyable an experience that is. And sometime back I'd asked this question, and I'll probably do that again with this audience. So how many of you have actually done a major storage upgrade where all the data was moved from an older storage, 3, 4, 5 years old, to a new storage? You gentlemen have never done a big upgrade. Well, I'll assume it's because it's between me and the drinks. But I'm 100% sure there are a lot more of us who've done it. Okay, and let me ask the next follow-up question. How many of you actually enjoyed doing that? You enjoyed doing a forklift upgrade. Well, I've had scenarios. I've worked with fairly large organizations when that thing was happening, it will give you the heebie-jeebies. You'll be worried, weeks of pain, sleepless nights. If something goes wrong on Saturday night when I'm switching on the new system and turning off the old one, something goes wrong, I will be in the office the rest of the day on the Sunday night, because the whole thing has to be operational when I come to the office on a Monday morning. That's a pain. That's a big problem. It's actually a fairly major issue in the industry, but nobody talks about it. The reason is because nobody has a solution for it. So you learn to live with it. It's like, I want to replace my old laptop with a new one. I know I will have to spend a couple of hours, sometimes couple of days, moving my old data, my old favorites, my old wallpapers, and God knows where the data is lying on the laptop, from the old machine to the new one, right? We assume that's a part and parcel of life. But if you use the Google Android phone, how hard was it to restore your contacts? Turn it on, write your email ID, agreed, and sit like this, and guess what? Your new phone is exactly like your old phone. It has all the contacts, your email is running, everything is fine. That's what we need for storage. That's what we need for storage. The issue is, most of my competitors can't do it, so they are definitely not going to talk about this particular problem with you. Okay, so what we have been doing as Dell is we've been acquiring a bunch of technologies in the market. There is a clear schema of things. We have a big picture. We know where the big gaps in our solution, or rather we knew where the big gaps in our solution stack were, and we've been buying a bunch of companies, and if you look at the green box, a fairly large percentage of our very big acquisitions have been in the storage space. The reason is, when we come and talk to you, when we come and work with you as your partners on a day-to-day business basis, I want to be able to give you precise solution for your precise problems. For example, I just talked about forklift upgrades that I will go further deeper into. So this is what we've done. We've acquired these technologies. And this is what our portfolio looks like. So our portfolio is growing. This is a Dell intellectual property portfolio. The three things you see on the left-hand side are all about primary storage, your bread and butter storage. This is where everything sits. Your databases sit, your production file and print servers sit, your messaging stores sit, your exchange sits. That's what it is. But on the right side, there are three families of products. It's not one product. There are three families of products which can be used for data protection, backup, archival, long-term retention. And we have products at price points and features and functionalities. We can give you something which is literally a continuous data protection environment for you, even for a small business. So that's what the portfolio does for you. But what I'm going to do today is just delve on the first two boxes, and let's start with the first one. All of these solutions have like good 15 or 16 very strong differentiators that we believe are important for your business. I'm going to touch on 2 or 3 of them today. If you think these are areas of interest for you, if you think you'd like to consider them, even if you don't want to buy storage, even if there is no need, if you just want to have a discussion with us, feel free to call the Dell specialist. We have made a huge investment. We've hired a team of storage experts right here in India also, and they are there in most of the major cities, and these people can come talk to you about what your business environment is, what we believe could be a better strategy for you, and then we could work out a roadmap. You need not necessarily buy our products and technologies all the time, but we should be able to give you at least a great vision, and we're happy to work with you. I also like to mention one more thing. We have a tool called DPAC, Delta Pack. It's a free tool. You can go to Google, search for Dell DPAC, download it. It's available for Windows, Linux. We can also give you for Unix flavors if you want, but those are the key 2 platforms. You download it yourself. There is no need to call me. Download it, install it on your server, run it. It will generate a small report. When you're downloading it, it will give you an email address, mail it to that. We will analyze what sort of situation your storage is, where exactly is your data sitting, how well is it working, do you really need something better to replace it, or are you fine? We will actually send you a report that will help you do that. So moving on, what this technology that we acquired called EcoLogic does is actually a very simple concept, and let me just straight away jump into that. So when you buy storage, when you're looking for storage, how do you do it? I'll tell you how I have done when I was on the other side of the fence, and I know how a lot of my friends used to do it till some time back. My assumption is it hasn't changed much, but I will still give you the story. So the story is simple. I go do my maths. All my servers, added up capacity that they're using is, let's say, 25 terabytes. Okay? Then I do some more maths. and somehow I come up with a magical figure, I'm growing like 20% year on year. Okay? And then I do a maths of next 5 years, and I say, so I'm at 25 terabytes, I'm growing 20% year on year, so how much storage should I need to take care of the next 5 years? I've seen tenders that customers write, that 25 terabytes, then they ask for a storage that does a minimum of 100 terabytes. Okay? And I'm not going to question the logic, because if I was on your side of the fence, 25 terabytes growing at 20% year on year in 5 years is not 50, it is 100. Because when the CIO, when the MD comes in and throws 2 terabytes on it, you're not going to tell him, sorry sir, 5 years back I did not factor it. You don't get to ask those questions. But if the thing doesn't work, somebody does put a gun on our faces, your faces, my faces, you guys are off chart. Okay? So that's how we do it. And if the vendor preferably has a 200 terabyte model, I would love to consider it, because the more I can buffer, the safer it is. So this is the first thing we have addressed with our solution. You want 25 terabytes, please buy only 25 terabytes. That's the first paradigm we talk about with our new solution. So this picture gives you a simple example. There are servers. That box shows how the storage has been allocated. Like any other storage, it has controllers, it has disk drives, and it allocates capacity, and you've allocated it, right? So far, nothing special. But let's say, this was, let's say, year 2008. So this is, we moved 2 years ahead, 2010, and we need to buy more capacity. This is what you do. You go there, you come to Dell, you call us, and we give you one more unit. Okay, but there is a difference. When you buy traditional storage, 25 terabyte comes in, you plug it in, what does it do? It sits there. Because it is expected that now you will spend your time, do something with it, map it to servers and use it. That's how your IT admins are supposed to work. Not with our solution. You deploy it, all the disks, all the systems talk to each other, spread the data around, the storage is production the moment you put it on. And to set it up, all this rocket science takes 30 minutes on a normal day during production hours with zero downtime. So you rack it, turn it on, 30 minutes later, it's becoming a part of what we'd like to call a pool. And it's usable almost immediately. Guess what? Another 2 years later, you need some more storage capacity, you do the same. Buy one more. So this is what we like to call as our block storage production data scale out architecture. It is really, really simple. It grows with you, it grows exactly as much as you want, and it grows with what you want. So you started with maybe 15,000 RPM drives 5 years back. Maybe you bought some SATA drives in between. Now you want solid state drives. We run it for you. What data sits where, what is the most efficient way of getting the information out of it, how it runs, you know, you're agnostic to it. It does it for you. You don't have to worry whether the SQL Server data is sitting on solid state drives or not, because the storage will take the decision for you. That's how it works. Okay? But going back to my original point, so it's now the system is 5 years old. Had you bought something else, you would have to pick it up, throw it away, buy a new one, and move the data to that. That's called forklift. That's a very, very important problem that this solution just does not have. Because what happens in our world, if this is what you've deployed, is this. You buy one more array. Okay, so you buy one more array, the data spreads. So let me do the maths for you. Let's say, the data was 1, 2, 4 terabytes. So first 3 arrays had 7 terabytes of data. You buy a new array, obviously it will be larger. Let's say it's 6, 8 terabytes. So you have 15 terabytes. The first array was 1 terabyte. You go on that array and you say, look, you're 5 years old. You are the only unit which is 5 years old. I will take you out of my production SAN. To do this very nice and complex job of moving data away and removing it from that SAN, it takes about 2 minutes and 1 click. You open the GUI, right-click the array, and click on a button called Evacuate. So you do it on a Tuesday morning, just do your normal work. It's a normal day for you. Wednesday morning you come, it's done. You know what you do after that? Take out the cables, remove the power cable, and you just finished your big forklift upgrade. Your weeks and months of... So, and remember, I did not throw away everything you had bought. I just removed, which was exactly the 5-year-old unit. This is the way, we believe this is the sort of technology our customers need to solve their real-life production problems. Do you think this exactly addresses the pain we talked about when I started? Okay. And then, by the way, it works right with the first storage we ever sold, even before we acquired the company. So this is a generational thing. If you've ever had the oldest system, you buy the latest, fanciest, freshest gadget which has got solid state drives, and the older one has like 5,400 RPM drives, it works. No questions asked. That's the benefit of this technology. And in 1 minute, I'll tell you what else it does. Every software capability it has is no extra charge. You replicate, snapshot, whatever, no extra charge. Second, especially with this particular problem, the performance monitoring is included with it. No questions asked. We don't want you to do performance monitoring, but if you want to do it, please go ahead, we'll give you the tools. And third, this is an application-aware storage. He talks to your Exchange server, he talks to your SQL server, he talks to your Linux server. So you try to do something on the server, he's taking a snapshot for a backup, he will ensure it is reliable, it is consistent. That's what it does for you. This is the path we started going on 4 years ago when we first acquired a piece of technology. And then last year we went ahead and bought another company. The reason is we want to be there in front of you to offer you technologies which these companies, these were small companies. They couldn't have grown 10 times. They did not have a global footprint. They were tiny little babies. But when Dell acquired them, we've put money there. We've doubled their R&D budget. We've told them, yeah, this roadmap is for 4 years. Sorry, forget 4 years. Do it in 1.5 years. Bring it in. All you need is more engineers. We can fund that. So the benefit is, and let's look at this another quick example. This one is even more interesting. And why is this more interesting? Very simple reason. I think this is a dream for us if I could store data where I wanted to store it. What I mean by that is, today you buy a storage with a particular kind of a capacity, and that's where you dump all your data. That's how you do it, right? If you had it your way, you would have a magical trick that would move all the data that is not being accessed, which is 90% of your data, to something a bit slower, like a SATA drive or a 2 terabyte drive, and only that key, important production data is probably going to sit on your 15,000 RPM drives, your solid state drives. That's where you've spent your money. That's what needs performance. So that is the dream scenario. The problem with the dream scenario is, who is going to continuously look at the system, figure out what needs to sit on solid state drive, move it there, figure out what is not needed there and move it down. And what's the granularity? Can you do it at a file level? Can you do it at a user level? It's a fairly painful process. What this technology gives us is an automatic way of looking at all your data in a very simple manner. All your data that comes in, he looks at it and tags it and keeps an eye on it. You don't use it enough for a week. Okay, so for 1 day if you don't use it enough, it goes down 1 tier. For 1 week you don't use it, it goes down another tier. For a lot of time you don't use it, it goes right to the bottom of the tiers. And it does it on its own. You don't have to do anything. So you have an Exchange PST file, 1 GB. He doesn't see an Exchange PST file. He sees 1 GB of blocks. Okay, he sees 1,000 blocks. So all the blocks, all the mails you never access, go down. Because my PST file has 5-year-old mails. I just like to keep them. And that's what your users are like. It does it for you. This is a key technology. It's automated. The analysts are telling us this is great. Everybody's telling us this is great. We have it. We have it for you. It will save you money every day because your data is not going to sit on a 600 GB drive. It's going to sit on a 2 terabyte drive. So 6 of those drives are replaced with 1. If that's where your data is going to sit, or at least most of it, we've seen about 75 to 80% of it. If that's where it's going to sit, your power bill is going to go down to a sixth for all of those drives. Your air conditioning bill is going to go down. Your maintenance, your AMC bills will go down because you're going to maintain so much lesser drives. This is the dream scenario. And this is exactly what we offer. And this we believe is the key part of the technology, and then it does a few other things. What's a snapshot? It's an instant backup. How many snapshots you would like to take? As many as possible. How many do vendors let you take? 50, 75, 100, 150. How much we let you take? How much we let you take? We have no documented limits. I have met customers who are running a few thousand snapshots. I thought he was taking snapshot every hour. He said, no, I'm sorry, I take a snapshot every 15 minutes. He has volumes, he takes snapshots every 15 minutes. So your boss calls, hey, I just deleted a file, you just go to a 15-minute old snapshot and pull it out. This is just too good. It is not a piece of information on a spec sheet. This is real. This is what you need to solve your problems. Normally, if you talk to vendors, you would have to choose from a bunch of products, right? You will have 4 or 5 models. Well, gentlemen, ladies, I'm happy to tell you, you want to buy my car and you want to choose the color, you can choose any color as long as it is black. That's what Henry Ford said, right? So you can choose any model you like, it's just one. The number of choices is just one, that's what I give you. So no guessing, no planning, no complexities, just pick it up and start. That's the key value of this platform. And it can do a few more fancy features which I would like to reserve for a one-on-one discussions if you're interested. But there are a couple of things this thing does. And that is what we want to talk to you about. Most importantly, it comes with a beautiful piece of management software. You know what this management software does? I really like it. What this management software does is all these beautiful capabilities I told you about, it creates a report. So it says X terabytes of data is sitting on that tier. And it is sitting on a tier, and therefore you have so much of savings happening, and you can do your maths and you can put a rupee figure to that, okay, and then take that report to your CFO and say, you did not want me to consider this solution, but here is real money that I have saved. And you know what we actually call that report? It has a very interesting name. That report is called a hero report. You know why? Because it makes the CIO look like a hero in front of the CEO. You actually saved money, you put a figure on the table, you put real dollars on the table. That's what we do. So it's a very well thought out process. It is like a typical cloud storage, and that is what it does for you. That is where it fits in. It's virtual. You never manage hard drives. You always look at X amount of capacity and decide what you want to do with it. And then there is no solution which is complete if we cannot give our customers all the parts. So this is not box. This is not a piece of metal box. It's a great software solution. It runs on a piece of hardware. We have the most comprehensive set of services to go with it. That's what makes it a solution. These are 2 simple examples of small solutions that we have designed for you.